in you. It's been there the whole time. Just keep looking up and open up your eyes. Don't get lost in a crowd. You were made to stand out. The Wonder Creative Podcast.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the Wonder Creative Podcast. So it feels so nice to sit down and chat because it's been a little bit. I do have quite a lot that I want to share today. I'm going to warn you. A lot of times I write out my notes before I record a podcast, but today I did not. And so we're going to kind of go off the cuff a little bit and talk about client experience and just thoughts that I've had about delivering a really amazing client experience that you can feel proud of and market really well. And that's something that I feel like I started my business out with that being like the thing in mind, like the top thing that really meant a lot to me. I wanted my clients to feel taken care of. I wanted to deliver an amazing experience that was unlike anything else. And that was, my goal. And I feel like I've just kind of like built on that over the course of almost 5 years of business and learned so much in that time. 5 years is a lot and not a lot at the same time, I feel like. Anyways, that was like over even like my aesthetic and how I looked to people and how they perceived me. That mattered to me, but what mattered the most to me was my client experience. So I'm going to talk about that today, and we'll get into that in a minute, but I thought I'd give a little update. I think the last podcast you heard from me, I was talking about overwhelm, which is very accurate for the season that I was in and still am in very much. I would say that I am still in that very overwhelming season, but it feels a little bit lighter now, a little bit more manageable now that I can eat, I can keep food down. I'm feeling better and better and more myself every day. So that is extremely encouraging. And, it's so hard managing life and like business and motherhood, pregnancy, and then just other things that I'm passionate about and love to do that just bring me life. Sometimes it all just like hits at once and you're just like, oh my God. I think now that I'm kind of out of that survival mode, it has made me feel lighter and helped me like feel inspired again, feel motivated. So for those of you, I get all that to say, for those of you who don't know, I am pregnant. I've said this before. But for anyone that may just be hopping in, I'm pregnant. I am going to be 16 weeks on Thursday. So I can feel a little bump happening, but it's really not super noticeable yet. It is sometimes depending on like how much I've eaten. But yeah, it's pretty much, like I can still hide under like a big sweatshirt, which it's fall. So now I can wear all the sweatshirts and the leggings, which is like my favorite attire. So, that's, if you see me out and about, I'm going to be in a sweatshirt and leggings, guarantee it. The pregnancy has been very challenging. And even some days, like even yesterday, I wasn't feeling very great. And, I think what really helped me though was getting into the second trimester, of course. And then also I went on vacation. So I hit 13 weeks and then we went on vacation and spent a week at the beach. And that was amazing. Like it was like everything that I needed because I felt like I had just been in the depths of despair and stuck in my house for 2 months and not really seeing any of my friends, not really going to anything because I just literally couldn't. It felt so nice to get out of the house. And be in the sun and be near the ocean, like, which is my favorite thing. Like, if you know me, you know that I love space, I love the cosmos, and I love the ocean. These are my two favorite things. Just feel so inspired. I feel closer to the Lord whenever I am looking at the stars or by the sea. Like, it's just, I can't explain it, but it just makes me feel so alive. So being there was like everything I needed to replenish my soul and spirit. And part of me felt very guilty because I hadn't really been super productive those 2 months that I just had been surviving. And so I felt very guilty for even taking a vacation. But that rest isn't something that has to be earned. Like, you need rest. It is absolutely required for our survival. And to thrive, to live, we need to rest. And rest is a productive thing. My brain was trying to tell me, hey, like, you don't need to do this. But in actuality, like, I needed rest more than I needed anything else. So I'm very thankful that we were able to take that time, spend time with family. And it was good for my mind because it got me out of the house, which is where all like my triggers were for nausea, right? Like walking into the kitchen, barf, open the refrigerator, barf, just everything. It was hard not to just stay in bed all the time. But I also have almost a 5-year-old, so I couldn't just lay in bed all day. I could lay in bed most of the day, and my husband, precious lamb, has been so amazing to just take on a lot more than he normally does, and has just consistently shown up in that way to take care of me, to take care of Asher. So very, very thankful. But anyway, so getting out of the house, getting just out of this environment was, so good because it almost like reset my brain. Plus, I was going into the second trimester. So it's kind of like the perfect storm for me to get out of like the rut that I had been in. It's not been perfect since then. I have definitely had bad days. I unfortunately have been sick since I got back from vacation, but it hasn't been nearly as bad as it. Okay, can y'all see, if you're watching on YouTube, I have a gray hair and like it is very visible right now. I don't know if you can tell, but it is like right there. And I refuse to pull it because I know it'll just grow back. So I'm just like, I guess I'm just going to rock like this gray hair right here. Whatever. That's my child gray hair. And then I think I have another one that is my business gray hair. So getting out of the house was so great and kind of reset my brain. And I've been able to have way more good days than bad days. So that I am rejoicing about. And the fact that my belly is getting a little bit bigger. I have felt like little flutters in there. At first I was like denying it. I'm like, like it's so early to feel anything, but I definitely have, like 100%. I know that I've felt the baby move. And they say that, you can kind of feel it more the second go around because your body like kind of knows like what those sensations feel like. So I wouldn't say like I felt like any like actual pokes, but I've just kind of felt those flutters. And if you've been pregnant before, you know kind of what I'm talking about. Honestly, coming back to a nice, crisp fall climate was lovely. We carved pumpkins recently, and we just like, I hadn't really carved a pumpkin ever, I don't think. And it had been a long time since Aaron had done it and Asher had never done it. And so I made pumpkin pie. We got pumpkins, we carved them. Asher was all about it. And so I'm like, this is like, we had so much fun. This is definitely something that we'll do next year. So I always painted pumpkins growing up. And now I kind of see why, because carving pumpkins is like kind of hard and super messy. But it was so worth it. Like every time I see my pumpkin, it is like, it brings me so much joy. That's all of the main updates. I've been working on so many different things for this like new season of business. Obviously, I will be going on maternity leave. I'm not taking on any projects past February. So I've been really looking to kind of fill this time well with projects that excite me and some new services that I want to start that I have put off. This has kind of lit a fire under my butt to do some new things because I'm kind of discovering, doing things the way that I've done them so far has worked, but going into a season of business where I'm going to have a newborn and, just 2 children in general, I feel like it kind of requires a little bit of a reordering here. And it's also just a good time to put everything on the table and be like, hey, is this still sustainable? Is this manageable? And obviously there are things that I will never change. Like I will always offer what I offer, like I feel like forever at this point. But there are things that I have dreamt of doing, new services and things that I would love to expand into and just haven't. And so I'm excited to kind of release some of these things in due time. While we're kind of talking about that, I want to go ahead and jump into the episode. I want to talk a little bit about client experience. And like I said, I'm going to kind of go off the cuff here. I had a meeting with a friend earlier today, and it really inspired me to talk more about this. And these are just like a lot of thoughts that I've had over the course of several months, but also just the entirety of my business. Like I said before, I don't like the word, like, I don't want to say I pride myself, but I am very proud of my client experience. And I think that's okay to say. I would say if you're a business owner, it's okay to feel proud of the things that you do. So I'm very proud of my client experience. I feel like it's definitely one of my strengths. And, a couple years ago, I had some downtime in my business, and I really focused on creating a client portal and like framework that I could walk my clients through, benefiting them and me so that we could be on the same page, everything in one place. I use Notion for that if you're curious, but really the magic of it is like the content, and like it allowed me to put everything that I do for my clients in like written out in a whole process that I can follow for each client. And of course, a lot of my projects are custom. So, clients have custom needs. I provide custom deliverables to them. But for the most part, I have a framework. I have a blueprint that I believe in and that I believe works for the majority of my clients. So if you hire me for branding, if you hire me for website, like there's a clear framework. If we've worked together, that's pretty much what every client has gotten with me. For the most part, give or take. Once I solidified that client experience, I put everything that I know and do for my clients in one place. It brought me so much confidence. And I was like, this is the best time to be a Wonder Creative client. Like, things are streamlined. Everything is in one place. I know what I'm doing. We can manage expectations really well on both sides of the relationship. And it just works. And so it really inspired me and it ignited my love for what I do all over again. And I was like, after I finished my client portal and got all of my client experience from inquiry to offboarding all set, I was like, get me more clients because I am ready and I'm so excited to share this with them. And that's really powerful. If you're starting out in your business, yes, branding is extremely important. But what is branding? If you think branding is just a visual identity, you're really not seeing the fullness of and the power of what branding really is. And this is something that I've talked a lot about, like the power of branding. I mean, I talk about branding all the time because I'm so passionate about it. And really, it's like the culture of your business and how like it comes alive in all these different elements. And your client experience is a really big part of that. Like your client experience says a lot about your brand. It says a lot about whether you value honesty, whether you value boundaries, structure, authenticity. Like it speaks to those values that you have as a business and what you hope to deliver to your audience. It's something that I feel like we should be talking about more, as especially as service providers. Like this is a really big deal. Whenever I start, and I don't think I finished this thought. Above having a really great visual identity, you need to have like a really great client experience. And I would say that is more important when you're starting out than having a visual identity. And the reason is, whenever I started Wonder Creative, my branding, it was so bad. Like it was so bad. And it's so funny because I'm like, I see, like, I'll have clients that come to me like, this is so embarrassing. I'm using like a Canva logo and, I really need to rebrand. I'm like, and they're telling me all this stuff. I'm like, don't be embarrassed. Like, I'm proud of you for getting a little Canva logo and going out there and going for it. There are people that don't, and because they feel paralyzed or they feel imposter syndrome or whatever, and they just talk themselves out of going for it. They don't get scrappy and make something work for them. And so I'm like extremely proud of people that just do what they can to get their business out there. Now, does that will that get you far? No, but it'll get you out there. It'll get you started. And so whenever I started Wonder Creative, I did my little Canva logo and branding and all that. I could be embarrassed, but I'm also I'm proud. Like that was a little step in the journey. But what mattered more than that horrible branding was I really wanted a great client experience. And because I was able to accurately communicate what I was wanting to deliver and the value of it, I got the right clients, and then I got referrals from those clients. And I pretty much lived off of referrals for like the first 2 years of my business. Pretty much anytime I launched a project, I always got referrals from that project. And so what you put out is what you're going to get. And what you deliver to your clients really matters because it sets that precedent for the future. That's why I feel like a really great client experience is going to set you apart from people that not as wholehearted in their approach. And if you have a really wholehearted approach and a really dialed in experience for your clients, then it's something that you can feel proud of, you can market with confidence, and you have a greater chance of getting really great referrals. Something that I encourage my clients to do is have a way, have a process from inquiry or leads, like how you're getting leads, then inquiry, then what happens after that. When someone inquires with you, what is that next step? And if you haven't yet done this in your business, I definitely encourage you to do this. Like write out the steps of your process. And even for you internally, you need to know what your process is. If you don't know and you just kind of go off a whim, everyone is different, and I'm not going to pressure anyone to follow exactly what I do. But I do think that if you don't know your own framework and if you don't know your own process, then you're probably falling short in even marketing yourself, because how do you sit down and create a social media post about what you do if you don't really even know like what it is that you do and what it is that you're offering. Even listening, like getting feedback from your clients is so important, because what they tell you is really great intel for you to be able to share. Like a lot of times people tell me, oh my gosh, like going through your branding exercise was so transformative for me. I didn't realize some of the things that I needed to think through, and it was amazing to have this information, to have you walk me through it. And I'm like, wow, it reinforces and confirms things like, I'm like, okay, I really felt like this was a great branding exercise. And then they just told me that it was really amazing for them and transformative. So now I know kind of how to talk about it. And it makes me feel more confident, and it gives me like a clear way to market myself and my business and accurately and genuinely speak to what it is that I offer. Really valuing this, like the client experience, it allows you to have a wholehearted approach in your business. And I say this, like businesses should serve others, and it should serve you as the business owner. You should feel good about your business. You should not feel like it's running your life. You should feel like it fits your life. And so hence why I'm kind of like pivoting into some different things, because I'm going to have 2 kids now. So I'm just going to have to kind of figure out what this new era kind of looks like. But also like the business is meant to serve others. It's meant to solve a problem for other people. And I believe, and this is just my personal belief, but I really believe that you can't just have a business and have a business to make money. I believe that it should be profitable for you, but I believe that it should be solving a problem. It should be serving other people and solving their problems. And that's what I believe, at least for someone that wants to have a business that evolves and grows and has longevity, that is the way to do it. And to always be listening to your audience, to stay connected, to value community, to value input and conversation. I feel like that is so important. And these are all things that you can use to level up your client experience. So something that I mentioned earlier is what you put out is what you're going to get. And so I feel like as a business owner, you need to have a really strong internal compass of who's the right client and who's not. And it's really important to know how to say no. It's really important to know your bottom line. It's really important to know what's profitable for you. It's really important to know what all you get out of a project. There was a time where I only worked with photographers because I really enjoyed that kind of work. I was getting a lot of interest from photographers, and I started becoming an expert on photography brands and websites. And so I only worked with photographers, and anyone that reached out to me, unless it was a very special circumstance, I turned away that wasn't a photographer. And because I knew, now it depends on where you are in your business. Like if you're really trying to make ends meet, I totally understand that. And you kind of have to do what you got to do. But even then, you don't necessarily have to market those projects, which is kind of why I turned down ones that weren't photographers, because in those early stages of business, I knew every project it was going in my portfolio. It had to go in my portfolio because I was in those building stages of my business, and I was building up my portfolio. So every project had to be really beneficial for me in that way. And so I turned away people that I just didn't feel aligned with what I wanted to do. And that was hard, but that is just something that you have to kind of lean into as a business owner. You know, I talk a lot about StoryBrand, and this whole idea of you are not the hero of your own business. Your client is the hero, and you are the guide. So that is a perfect way to look at your client experience. It's about you building them up and guiding them through a process that you have perfected, that you believe in. Make them the hero. You want them to feel like they are succeeding and you are guiding them along and giving them all the tools. So having a strong client experience, whether you're a designer, whether you're any sort of service provider, it's so important to have a system. I love the Lord. I love his ways, his kingdom. And I believe that business is a wonderful place for us to apply those principles. And one of the things that I am not a perfectionist, but I do things with excellence. And I believe that that is something that honors the Lord. I do things wholeheartedly, not just because I want to, but because doing everything wholeheartedly unto the Lord is what he has asked me to do. And if it's something that I cannot deliver wholeheartedly, then I don't do it. Or I wait and I work on it and I build up my skill set and then I release it. You know what I mean? Because I care about my clients. I care about the people that I have a voice to, the people that save up their money to work with me. I mean, that's a really big deal. If you work in a space where people are investing thousands of dollars into something, that should not be taken lightly. And I believe that delivering excellence and being wholehearted in your approach is not only honoring what you do and your business and your clients, but it honors the Lord. It brings him joy. And whenever you take his principles, what he has asked of us in our life, and I mean, that is worship to him. And so I've said this so many times, but like my business is so sacred to me. It's so special. It humbles me so much every time because I'm like, it makes me realize like, this is a really big deal, and then it sets people on a trajectory after we finish a project for them to go as far as they want to go in their business, and I'm like, that's like such a big deal to me. And also being able to have a voice into their business and into their dreams is a huge deal. And I don't take it lightly. And I'm so honored to do that. And it lights me up. Like talking about stuff like this, like I love design and I love branding, but like talking about the heart behind business, especially in a time where anybody can start a business, anybody can launch anything. And sometimes nowadays, like I feel like you really have to weed through what's real and what's not. Also, a big part of client experience is your boundaries. You really want to offer your client a wonderful experience. You want them to feel heard, to feel led through this process. You want to, build them up and guide them well. But you don't want to get to a point where you feel like the client is driving the project. Like you are to guide them through. And it's really important to manage expectations on both ends. I don't share my personal phone number with my clients. They are not allowed to contact me on text or call me without first scheduling because I'm a mom. And so scheduling calls is extremely important because sometimes I'm not available. We email and we talk in Slack and they know when I'm going to get back to them. They know like where to find me, how to connect with me. They know, when things are due, what's the next step. They know when I'm going to deliver something. They know. And I feel like just managing expectations and being really open and honest with one another throughout the process is really important because you really don't want that to be the reason why people are not happy with that final product that you deliver to them, whatever that is. And I know a lot of this can be very design focused, but I feel again like these are principles and things that anybody could apply having boundaries, having contracts, having something that protects you and protects the client. I mean, it's not just about you. You really want to manage and protect both parties. Anyways, I had DM'd with some people about client experience. I had some very interesting conversations, and like just people talking about what, like, I like to work with these people, I do not like to work with these people. And I think knowing that stuff is really important, because then, like, because you need to be working with people and working on projects that bring you joy. Like, you need to enjoy what you're doing. If you don't, then like, why? Like, something that I do is I go back and I look at like my most successful projects. And by successful, I mean, we got the most out of, like, the client got the most out of the project. It was just good all the way through. They were happy. I was happy. You know, like, if it was just like a very blissful project, like, I audit it and see like what was working, why did this work? And I worked with someone recently and it was such a successful project. And I realized the reason why it was so successful is because I was not the only one excited and like energized about this project. Like, this person had brought so much energy into the project. They equally gave as much of themselves to it as I did. And a lot of times, sometimes when you get in situations like, if you hire a designer, it's easy to just like expect the designer to take on the bulk of that project and the bulk of the energy and all the things. But if it's like how I work, like, my projects are very collaborative. I'm not asking you to like work like long hours and stuff like I'm going to be doing on this project. Like, you're hiring me to do this. But what I mean by this is, like, this person, she used this as a launching pad for her to really hone in on her offers and her client experience. She got so detailed about her messaging and like used every resource that I provided her. Because the thing is, I provide a lot of resources to my clients, but not all of them really utilize them and like even utilize me to the fullest. And so she really was like, I'm going to utilize everything that I can from this project. And I feel like that's why it was so successful. And that's why I feel like she's going to see so much success in her business because of that. And so I looked at that project. I'm like, how can I get more people like her? And how do I need to message what it is that I offer so that I'm getting more people like her? And so you kind of really need, this is why it's important to have like a really good client experience, that you have like a paper trail. You can go back and look over things and audit, so then you can like make it better and better and better. Delivering like the best, most excellent client experience is something that will never not be important. It's something that will always be on brand for your business if you value that, you know? This is something that I definitely want to keep talking about. And I would love if you guys would ask me more questions, like give me some more input. Tell me about like amazing client experiences, bad client experiences, what you learned from them. Like, I would love to kind of hear from you guys about this, so then I can like talk more about it, because it's stretching me to really like think through a lot of these things and like put language to a lot of things that I just feel. And so that would help me tremendously. If you want to DM me on Instagram, if you want to email me, I guess. If you have thoughts, you can email hello@wondercreative.co, or you can DM me at Wonder Creative Studio on Instagram. And just tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you think about like stuff that I shared today. Tell me a great client experience that you had, whether you were the client or you were the service provider. And I would love to kind of hear from you. Where are you stuck? Like, where do you feel stuck in creating a great client experience? What do you feel like would really help you? What is it that you feel like you're really lacking on delivering the best client experience you can deliver. And let's talk about it. I would love to help provide more resources, more podcast episodes about this, because I think it is like one of the things I'm most passionate about, other than the actual like visual representation of branding, and like the creative expression of it all. And just to take this like one step further, if you have a really solid client experience, you really know yourself, you know what it is that you're offering, that informs us so much when we get into the visual identity, actual branding, design process. And it makes it even better because we can use all this messaging and language and put like visuals to it so that you can market it and it be amazing and top notch, high level. It allows you to charge what you want to charge, like even, raise your prices if you want, because it creates a stronger value perception from your audience. And that is kind of everything. I kind of talked a little bit more than I wanted to, but I also felt like I needed to make up for the podcast episode that I definitely skipped whenever I was on vacation, because I didn't have time to get to it, because I was feeling very sick before I went on vacation. So I just also want to say thank you for being gracious. I obviously have this set schedule that I'm very excited about. And I had been like on a roll, and I was so excited about it. And then I missed one and I got like really down about it. But I'm excited. I have another great guest coming up next month. So it'll be the podcast after this one. So that will launch November 8th. So you can be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for listening. Give me your feedback. I want to hear from you. I really value that. Thanks for like just hanging out with me today. It was really nice to like get all my thoughts out. I'm still kind of finding my voice here, and I just have to keep exercising and practicing using my voice, because I know that's how I'll get better. So thank you for just allowing me to do that and speak to the things that I'm so passionate about as I grow in my business. I hope you guys tune in the next, not next week, but the next, for my guest episode, and I'll see you then. Bye. Thanks so much for listening today. If you enjoyed the episode, I would love for you to go leave a review. You can connect with us on Instagram and Threads at Wonder Creative Pod. Theme song for the podcast was written and sung by me and produced by Andrew Mindy. We'll catch you next time.